Chapter 27. Benny came to in the devastated TARDIS control room. Ace and Charlie were bending over her in concern. Ace took the headset off her and helped her roughly to her feet. "It's no good," Benny said. "Khan's gaining power by the minute. He'll soon be invincible." "Did you learn anything?" Ace asked. "Anything that might help us stop him?" "Only that it's sometimes necessary to kill one thing for another thing to survive," Benny said slowly. Ace and Charlie stared at each other. "Don't bother asking me, Charlie," Ace shrugged. "I don't know what she's talking about either." "I've got an idea," Benny said. "That's wonderful," Charlie cheered. "Trouble is, I don't think you're going to like it." "Well, spit it out then." When the TARDIS materialized in London, it transformed itself into a police box, so that Khan couldn't get at its temporal energies, right? Ace nodded when a frightening thought struck her. "We can't disconnect the TVG again, Benny. Not while we're in flight." "That's not what I'm suggesting, Ace," she continued. "I doubt we could even do it if we wanted to. Besides, there would be nothing to stop someone reconnecting the TVG at a later date." "So what's your big idea?" "Deprive Khan of his power source completely. Forever," stated Benny coldly. "We know that the TARDIS can reconfigure its internal dimensions infinitely." "Wait a minute. I don't like the sound of this." "We persuade the TARDIS to self-destruct." "My God, Charlie, the crazy cow wants to blow us all up," breathed Ace. "There's got to be another way, Benny." "Any alternative suggestions will be gratefully accepted in the following few minutes we have left to us." Ace paced around the console room. "You can't destroy the TARDIS. It's been my home for years." "You can't afford to be sentimental, Ace," Benny pointed out rather pompously. "Can't I just? The TARDIS isn't just a machine. It's a living person. It'd be like committing murder." Ace examined the instrument panels of the control console, as if they might provide her with an answer. "Think! What would the Professor do?" "Knowing the Doctor, he's probably already done it, and is just waiting for us to catch up with him," said Benny, unwittingly echoing Ace's previous words. "Yeah," said Ace. "Wait a minute! That's it! Only it's not the Professor who's done it. It's the TARDIS!" Excitedly, she started operating the controls. "What are you doing?" asked Benny. "Setting the coordinates." "You can do that?" Benny was impressed by the younger woman's knowledge. "Course I can. I've watched the Professor enough times," she said superiorly. "Besides, I've got some extra help." "Who?" asked Charlie. "The TARDIS herself." "And just where do you think you're taking us?" asked Benny sternly. "Anticon, of course. When the TARDIS crashed, it split itself into two, right? Well, there must have been a reason for it. I thought it was to separate us, to keep you from getting the TVG. Why? I might know more about the TARDIS than you do, but I still wouldn't have known what to do with the TVG. Khan's taking over the TARDIS, but he's only taking over half the TARDIS. The other half is waiting for us on Anticon. The TARDIS had it planned all along." "Two for the price of one," muttered Benny. "What?" "Oh, just something a lamb said to me once." Ace drew Benny and Charlie's attention to the large central time rotor. It was slowly descending to a halt. They had arrived back on Anticon. Ace activated the scanner controls, and the panels on the screen slid open to show them the image of what was outside. They had landed in the hive, a hive which was now strangely empty. Opposite them stood that part of the TARDIS which had brought Ace to Anticon. "Now what?" asked Benny. "I think it's being taken out of our hands now," said Ace. The time machine shuddered as Khan became aware of the presence of another TARDIS. He reached out his mind, trying to embrace its power as he had done that of the original TARDIS. and in doing so relaxed his hold. Inside the console room, the lights dimmed and the central time rotor blazed a fiery red. The air was filled with a curious wheezing noise, not the usual sound of dematerialization, but a deeper, more strained sound, like someone groaning in pain. Ace, Benny, and Charlie looked at the walls of the console room. They were bending and shimmering as the TARDIS tried to take advantage of Khan's momentary relaxation of power and expel the foreign intelligence which had dared to invade her very being. Part of the console exploded in a flash of flame. On the scanner screen, they watched the other TARDIS tremble and then dematerialize. "He's transferred himself to the other TARDIS," said Benny. "He's going to win after all." Charlie pointed to the LED display on the TARDIS's navigation board. "What are them numbers changing for?" he asked. Ace and Benny looked at each other. The TARDIS's coordinates were changing, seemingly by themselves. Ace shrugged at Benny. "What do I do now?" "This," she said, and rammed down the main dematerialization lever. As the TARDIS vanished from the surface of Anticon, Benny pointed to a small screen on the navigational panel which was flashing an urgent message. She didn't like the sound of it. "Ace, what's a time ram?" Ace's face turned even whiter than it was normally. She remembered something the professor had once said about one of the most dangerous maneuvers a TARDIS could ever perform. "It's when two objects occupy exactly the same place in both space and time." "That's impossible." "Exactly. This universe ain't going to be big enough for the both of us." Somewhere in the time vortex, that indefinable somewhen which exists between all the known and unknown dimensions, a flash of energy appeared, shining in the unfathomable darkness like a tiny star. In the eternal infinity of the vortex, however, it was insignificant. The slightest ripple in the ever-changing, ever-unpredictable possibilities of time and space. An infinitesimal fraction of a nanosecond later, another flash of energy tried to appear, attempted to occupy the same space as the first energy source. For another fraction of a nanosecond, the two shone brightly as one, each one jostling for position. And then the second pinprick of energy was expelled, sent hurtling out of the vortex into the real world of space and time, and to its preordained destruction. Somewhere, over the barren wastes of Tungasaku, in a land called Siberia, on the last day of June 1908, the part of the TARDIS that she herself had willingly sacrificed to Jared Khan exploded. And across the ages, a great divide was opened. Report from Nature magazine, 29th of May, 1965. The most spectacular meteor fall to be recorded in modern times occurred on June 30th, 1908, in the basin of the Podkanamaya River, Siberia, some miles to the north of Lake Baikal. It was seen in the cloudless sky over an area of about 1,500 kilometers. The fall was accompanied by violent radiation and shock phenomena. The meteorological and geomagnetic fields were registered at points around the world. No trace of a crater was found.